Now that we have our neck in place, we can do the very important task of locating the bridge. I've got this piece of masking tape that is somewhere around where I'm going to need to screw in the holes for my bridge. So as you can see here, I've got this hipshot Telecaster bridge, which I just took the saddles off of. And somewhere around here is where I'm going to have to locate these screws. I put that masking tape there just so that way I can draw more easily on the body without having to worry about the graphite getting into the grain, which I didn't really think about when I was drawing up here, but oh well. So, first things first, I'm going to have to find my center line. So I'm going to grab my straight edge here, and I'm going to align it with the side of my neck. Right there. Now I got my two lines here. I can use my center finding ruler to, well, find the center line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up so that way I can figure this out. And mark that, mark my 0, mark my 0. Show this one here. Boom. Now I've got my center line. The next step now is going to be figuring out where to put this bridge. So 25.5 inches is right there. However, I need 25 3/4 according to StuMax online calculator. Using that straight edge, I found where 25 3/4 inches is from the nut, and then I used my center finding ruler to draw this perpendicular line to my center line, which is where the screws will go for my bridge. So it's going to look something, it's going to go somewhere along this line here. So now the next step is to figure out where exactly they're going to go. 1 and 9/32 is going to give us the spacing we need for the outermost screws. 1 and 9 is right there. 9 lined up. So that is where the screw will go. I'm just going to draw an arrow to that. So that way I know that this is where my screw line is, so I don't accidentally draw there. So, because I've done that before, where I've had too many lines going, and then I ended up using the wrong line to drill a hole, and it was not a fun time. Alright, same thing. Looks like I'm going to have enough room on all sides of this cavity for my pickup to sit, so thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Good job. I'm going to get these 2 holes drilled first, and then I'm going to, just using those, then I'm going to figure out where exactly I'm going to get these center ones here, because this just goes to 30 seconds, does not go to 64ths, so that is a bit unfortunate. Before we go out to the garage to do some drilling, I need to figure out where to locate the holes for my control plate. So, pretty much be doing the same thing. I'm just going to be finding the center line of this and then marking out where I'm going to have my screw holes for there on that center line. This for my straight edge, and then we use the bridge to line it up with the wall here. We've got that marked. Now we just have to figure out what the spacing is for our screw holes here. So if I look at my control plate here, well, it lines up exactly, well, looks like it's 6 inches between the holes, because 3 matches up there. So that makes this easy. This time, 3 inches. So that means my control plate, if these screw holes are right, it's going to sit about right there. The reason I wanted to check this layout first is because I'm not entirely certain that my switch here is going to fit in the cavity. So I want to check that before I made these holes. Let's do this test fit here. Just gonna try to put all this in, but make sure that it comes flush. All right, so if I put this, oh yeah, we got plenty of room here. Oh yeah, I don't know why I was so nervous. All right, so I want to make sure that I get everything lined up and looking nice with my controls here. So what I would do is work this all out. Try to get this looking aesthetically pleasing. Now that I've got these holes marked, I think we'll be in a good position. If I had used my original holes for the control plate, my pickguard would have been like about there, and there would have been an ugly looking gap between the bottom of the neck joint there and here. So this is why you measure twice and cut once, and that's why I like to do these dry setups and stuff, just to make sure everything's gonna look all right. I guess I can also do this just to verify that this would be aesthetically pleasing. Okay, last thing we're gonna do before we take this outside is figure out where to put the top strap button. So I'm going to grab my telly and lay this on top, and this is of course going to be like an approximation for where exactly it should go. Try to line the bodies up as best I can. Alright, and now I know that somewhere in between there and I'll have to find the center of the body is where I'll have to drill my strap button. Before I start drilling holes, I want to actually mark the center of where those holes are going to go using the brad points of these bits here. The reason I use the brad point is because with my other center punches, I can't really see exactly where the tip is before I make the punch, but with these I feel like I get a better idea of where the hole that I punch is going to be. Alright, so on the 5 holes for the pick guard are marked, the 2 holes for the control plate are marked, and then I got the 2 outer holes for the bridge marked as well. I'm going to make sure that I measure my screws, make sure I'm using the right size bit. 0.096. 0.096, so, well actually, that ends up running up to 760 points anyway. 0.093 rounds up to 0.0938, which is going to be 330 seconds. My brad point set here, as you can see, that right there is where my 330 seconds should be, and it's not there. So I'm going to have to use my regular V bit, your typical drill bit. I'm really not all that worried because of how small the diameter is on this. So it's fine. A little bit unfortunate, but I don't think it'll be a problem. The pick guard holes are done. Now let's move on to the control plate ones. These control plate ones are actually the same. Yep, they're the same size as these pick guard ones. Now the control plate holes are drilled. Now let's move on to the ones that will be different. Is the bridge. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with these, making sure I get the correct size because I have broken off bridge screws in the guitar before. It is not fun. It is seriously not fun. No, I mean it is the same inner diameter as these. That's really interesting. Oh, okay, but it's a bigger outer diameter. Okay. Well, come on, you know. this into position on my drill press. The drill press bed is too small, so I'm gonna have to use this other thing that I've got. Hook on my hand drill to it. Oh boy. Alright, so while setting this up, I kind of realized that I was gonna use this little jig thing from Harbor Freight again to get a 90-degree angle in my drill. But if I chuck this drill bit in here and I push it up, as you can see, it does not reach past the base here. So I'm gonna have to try to use this extension here, which I'm a little bit nervous about because I don't think it's gonna be super stable if I do use this. Just because it's one of these where it's got like the ball that locks it in. So I don't know if I made the best choice there. However, I'm gonna give it a shot. I guess we're gonna see what happens. Sweet. Yeah, I've got my holes marked out there. Now for the outer bridge ones. I'm going to verify these ones first, make sure that the bridge fits on these. The way I like to do these bridge screws is, well, any screws that go into wood, really, is I like to use candle wax. So I've got this gold candle here. Doesn't matter what kind. Just get some of that wax on these threads. What I'll do also is if I get little chunks of like the wax, and I'll push that in the hole. What I have found is that this really helps prevent bags from breaking off because you're lubricating where your screw's going into the wood. Alright. Screws in. The reason I screwed the bridge down with these outer two with the tape still on is I wanted to verify that my middle two would be on that perpendicular line that I drew and that it wasn't crooked or anything like that. So as you can see, we're looking good. That line is going through the center of both of those holes. So fantastic. Alright, now I'm just going to go to the surface here. Cool. And I've got all four of these holes tapped. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. The bridge is mounted. We're satisfied. I think looks pretty good. Let's do the control plate next. I think that's just control plate is on. Onto the pick guard. We've got. Pick guard is on, tone control is on, bridge is on. Now there's a little, yeah, this isn't exactly even, I guess. Down here, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but we shall see. Well, I guess that's all because of my neck placement, because if I move this over, yeah, that'll just be all neck placement stuff. Well, anyway, that's fine. Grab the strap button. Oops, that's overexposed. The strap button here, so let's do that next. So I just realized I took my tape off too early for the bridge because I have my center line on it. So I'm gonna have to review this now because if you recall earlier, I marked whereabouts that strap button should be. Did not do the same on the bottom, so oops. Now I have to do this one. So I'm going to do this is I'm just going to use my bridge as a reference at this point because it doesn't have to be exactly the center. It's not reality. So keep it close. Alright, center line marked again. Boom. We got it. Strap buttons are in as well. Alright, now I've got to drill the output jack hole. So this is the output jack that I have. I'm just gonna quick put it in this hole that's already drilled and drill screw holes for it. Honestly, with this, I don't even think I need to drill the holes really. Let me just, it's something that I've always done. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but what I do, it's just something I do. What I do is I like to angle this at about 45 degrees-ish. I always, for some reason, have a fear that if I do it parallel to the grain, it's gonna like cause some splitting if I don't drill the hole right, but I don't know why. I always just do it at a 45. Alright, and there we go. Now the output jack hole is mounted. Let's drill the hole for the ground wire. So it's going to go from under the bridge about here just into this cavity there. Alright, now I've got my lawn boy bit for drilling ground wires. And all I'm going to do is basically drill down just to get it started and then turn the bit once I'm in at an angle and then go through into this control cavity here. Squeak it I don't like, so I'm going to coat this tip in wax. Alright, so as you can see here, we've got the ground wire going there, and then it penetrates through right where my finger is there, so not that big hole, but the one right next to it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the drilling you need to do for now, except for those string through holes. Alright, so I probably should have filmed this, but all I did here was just attach the bridge with those two screws because we know that those ones are perfectly matched up. And then I used this 1/8" center transfer punch to just punch the center out for where I will have to drill my holes. I think you guys can, yeah, you guys can see inside the holes there. If the camera will focus, you will see that the center has been punched. So as you can see here, this is where, but on the other side, I'm gonna have this string retainer here. So usually when you see string retainers, or string ferrules is what they're normally called, you have your holes in the back and then you have individual ferrules that hold each string. However, I've heard about these brass blocks and I want to try one out just to see if there's any noticeable difference. So yeah, I got me one of these, and what I'm going to do is drill my string through holes through here using that Harbor Freight drill press mount, which I know it doesn't exactly seem like it's going to be the best. However, what I can do is on the other side, if for whatever reason I screw it up, I can just go back with a little bit bigger diameter bit is what I'm thinking, or I can just use the same diameter. But because I'm using this this will also kind of mask if anything's a little bit off. So I can just get this to match here and like look aesthetically pleasing, regardless of if my holes come through straight. So basically all I care about is these holes being true, and then I can figure out the rest when I mount this. I mean, just like, well, I guess it doesn't matter because I've got to use this. Oh wait, I can't do that. Crap. So if I can just get it started with this, yes, I can get it started about that much. So what I'm going to try to do is get it started here and then switch over to the hand drill and just try to keep it steady going down, because drag point bits do a good job of not walking when they're going through. So I'm going to see if that'll work. Alright, so boom, holes are started about a 1/2 inch in. So I'm just going to try to hold this guy straight and drill through it. I'm just going to start, just so I can like get some practice, I guess. I'm going to start with the center ones and then work my way out. Yeah, those first 4 that I did in the middle, those ones are straight, but then as you can see, the ones on the outside are not so straight, so oh well. I mean, it is what it is. I can line this up just using the middle 4 then, and then it's really not that big of a deal. Now that I'm lining things up, it actually looks like these outside holes are pretty good. Where about this is aesthetically pleasing, and then I'm going to have to figure out as well, I'm going to have to make a template for recessing this into the body. The reason I got this block and the reason I got these ferrules is so that way this would just lay flat against the table, unlike the traditional fenders that have that neck plate here, which makes it not lay flat because you got like an 1/8 inch or whatever stainless right there. So I've got my pieces of aluminum flat stock here arranged like so, all around this string retaining bar, retaining block. Alright, so I've got my aluminum flat stock here arranged all around this retaining block, and what's going to do is allow me to cut a 1/2 inch hole through this piece of MDF that's exactly the right size that I need, because this retaining block here measures exactly 1/2 inch, so all I'm doing here is just kind of entrapping it, and then it's, again, the dead of the night, so I can't really do the routing, but I can get it ready for the morning. So I'm just going to finish double stick taping all this together, and then we'll be good to go. it's all taped up now. Let me just show you guys a closer look here. Alright, so this is what my template is going to look like. As you can see, it's important with MDF that you support everything that overhangs with some MDF that is the same thickness, just so everything's supported properly and you route perpendicular through the surface. Right now everything's kind of laying on top of the guitar body, but anyway, what I'm going to do is I can remove my retaining block here, and that little rectangular-ish area is where I'm going to be able to make the template. So you might be asking yourself, well, what about, I see all these gaps here, how's that going to work? Well, because these gaps are smaller than the diameter, the diameter or half the diameter, which is the radius of the bit, it's not going to be a problem, because essentially all my half-inch bit is going to do is, because it's that width there, it's the same as the diameter, it's just going to go from point A to point B, and as long as those work, so they're the same, which they are, then we will have a perfectly good template. Because I'm working with MDF here, actually cutting into MDF, I'm going to grab my dust mask real quick, which I thought I had right there. Alright, safety first. Got our template here, and yeah, it is the size we need. All right. It worked. Well, this is the part where it's important to know your tools. So I forgot that this template kit that I just used is really good on writing neck pockets, because it makes everything just a little bit smaller. And my template was pretty much the perfect size. So if I had gone through and used a half-inch bit that was shorter, if I had one, that would have gotten me the perfect size route. But because I used this one here, it's a little bit too tight for my string retaining block, so I'm going to have to go through and file this stuff by hand. The more you know. Alright. We got it in finally. Very tight fit, so I'm probably going to have to do some sanding still to get it to work out a little bit better, so that way when I apply the finish, it will still be tight. But yeah, the string retaining block is now in, and yeah, I am a fan of it. Yeah, there's a little bit, I think my template had slipped a little bit when I was routing here, because this is a little bit too wide, as you can see. But it's pretty minor, so I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how this is coming out. Okay, so in my excitement to get this in here and figure out if I got neck dive or not, I forgot to actually drill the holes in for the tuning machines, but luckily Hipshot provides these little plate things, so I can just use these to mount my tuning machines in. make sure they're mounted. Let's see if we got neck dive. Alright, so I know this doesn't even have the pickups in it yet, or knobs, or strings on or anything. I think all the stuff I'm going to add later will add some weight down here. I just want to see if it has a neck dive right now. And it does, so. Oh well. I was just curious to see at this point. Alright, so this is what we're looking like so far, with all the hardware mounted up, and a lot of sawdust on it. But yeah, I've been pretty satisfied with how this is looking. So I'll just show you guys up close. Oh, as you can see, I also got some black pickguard screws that came in the mail, so thanks to fast shipping. So yeah, front side, this is how we're looking. And on the back, well, I like the open gear look of these hip shot tuners, that brass on black. That looks pretty cool. Also, we've got this brass here as well, so like the brass and black is gonna kind of match from the from here to here. Granted, this body is gonna end up being white, but yeah, this is what we're looking like right now. And I realized I just forgot to mount the mounting screws for this, so I'll have to do that next time. But yeah, this is what we got so far, and I think it's looking pretty sweet. The next video is going to be sanding, not sanding, finishing this entirety, but it will involve sanding. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you guys, especially because for this build, I'm going to be doing a fabric top. Because, well, I like fabric tops, and like I mentioned before, this is practice for another build that I'm doing that is a fabric top. So I just want to perfect some of my techniques before I run into that one. This one's looking pretty good. I'm excited to see how she plays. If you want to see how the rest of this build goes, then consider hitting that subscribe button and liking this video. And as always, I'm Greg Angel. Thank you for watching.